I love the subject of self-sabotage. People come to me often and they would say, clients come to me often and say, I'm self-sabotaging my life. Why do I hate myself? You don't actually hate yourself. Why am I addicted to self-sabotage? Why am I addicted to ruining my life? You don't actually want to ruin your life. Let me grant you another perspective. Self-sabotage is an attempt to feel better, to place pleasure back into our bodies. Let me elaborate. We're not addicted to self-pleasure. We are addicted to the coping strategy or the coping strategies or protective strategies that we've learned throughout our years, particularly during our formative years, in how we've learned to relate to others, how we've learned to give and receive love, that we are actually more quote-unquote addicted to. We have a compulsion to move towards those coping strategies to make sure they play out, because when we play out our coping strategies, they make us feel better, but they make us feel safer. They give us a sense of control and power. We feel empowered in our movement in the world. And so because we learn so richly through contrast, guess what? We need the contrast to apply the coping strategy. And it's this intensity that we're experiencing. And Buddhism speaks this as well, as choosing the middle path, but we have to break the addictions to the intensity, the highs and the lows. We are more addicted to the high, but we're equally addicted to the low. But what we really want is the high, because when we're playing out the high, when we're playing out that coping strategy, we're saying, oh, I'm safe. I feel safe. I feel okay. If I'm playing out this coping strategy and I feel better now, I must be safe. And so we're addicted to that. Let me elaborate. Let me go a little deeper. Let me provide some examples. Addiction's a complex thing. I've spoken and written to addiction so often. Addiction is this cry for help. It's this need for wholeness. It's this need to be seen. It's this need to fill a void. It's this need to be understood by self and by others. And we're trying to numb that pain. And what may appear to be keep going back to drugs or keep going back to alcohol, what may appear to be self-sabotage and self-hate is really an attempt to numb and forget and avoid. But what we're really pursuing is the feeling. That drug, as an example, is a coping strategy. It helps us feel good. It helps us numb the pain, the unresolved trauma that we may have, the low self-esteem or low sense of self-worth, whatever it may be. The argument that you just had with your beloved and now you're scared that he or she are going to leave you. The job that you just lost. Whatever it may be, what we're really doing is trying to feel better. And so let's say you've broken up with your partner and you're still in communication. You know, you haven't been courageous enough to set healthier boundaries around what your needs are, because part of you feels, well, if I just stay in this some form of dynamic, this limbo of friendship post-partnership, then maybe there's a chance that we'll get back together, or maybe there's a chance that they'll appreciate me or love me or see me for who I really am. Let's just assume that's happening. And they're still connecting and communicating with you, but they don't want to be with you, but they're loose in their boundaries. But then they're flirting with you still through communication. Maybe you work together or you see each other often, or maybe they're just texting you and you don't have the confidence to say, hey, I really still care about you and this is really difficult for me and I'd appreciate it if you didn't communicate with me in this way. So instead, you need to feel better about yourself, but instead of speaking your truth and being authentic and honest and vulnerable in that way, you'll maybe go to alcohol, or maybe you'll go to partying to distract yourself, or you'll bury yourself in work. Another example is, again, staying in the relationship paradigm here for a moment. You've just broken up with someone and you've been broken up for a few months. And look, you know that they're not for you, but you still have strong feelings towards them. And you want to alleviate this pain and this pressure of not being together. So what do? You start looking at their social media. You start seeing what are they doing in their lives. And then all of a sudden you see them with other people having fun. And now you're telling yourself these stories that I'm not good enough. Why am I not there? Why can they have fun with other people but they're not having fun with me? Why do we argue so much? And you start dredging up the past. You start digging up the past and the pain of all that. Now that's sharp pain that you start to feel because it's low self-worth, it's low self-esteem, it's low self-everything. And so guess what? You need a coping strategy now. You need a way to feel better about yourself. Boom. Maybe it's food. Maybe it's that old adage of eating a tub of ice cream in front of the TV or watching romance movies. Maybe it's going for an excessively long run. You excessively exercise to feel better about yourself. Maybe you go and gamble. Maybe you go and have more sex with other people to try and take away that pain that you're not dealing with. Self-sabotage is you not dealing with your stuff. It's you doing everything you can to avoid that, but it's going to keep leaking out. And because you want to feel better about yourself, and you're not going to feel better about yourself until you deal with these core wounds and these core issues, and even the issues that are underlying that event or those events, you're just going to create more drama in your life to apply a coping strategy or a protective strategy that temporarily makes you feel better because it's not authentic to that situation. It's not genuine, it's not real. You can't hate yourself through this. You have to love yourself through this. And in order to come into love, we have to embrace all of who we are, the whole of who we are. That includes some very uncomfortable aspects of self, liking the parts that we dislike, seeing the parts of ourselves that we value and the parts that we don't value, and accepting those parts. Only then can we slow down this application of self-sabotage. We have to see ourselves and appreciate ourselves, love ourselves fully for who we are, trust in ourselves, know that we needn't bring the past into the present, and that if we can seek support within and outside of ourselves, we can deal with these very core issues that are perpetuating self-sabotage. And that becomes a habit, right? That becomes your life and becomes your norm. That whole pattern of, it's a rinse and repeat pattern of destructiveness, alleviate the pain. Destructiveness, alleviate the pain. But like anything, you're going to need more of that because you're going to need more stimulus to get the desired effect or level of reprieve that you require. You're not alone in this. We all do this. We all have elements of this in our lives. But when are you really going to choose you? When are you going to break those old habits of past and just choose you? Power and blessings. I'll see you soon.